your images have been inserted into the document and you've rescaled them all to look the way that you want them to look, like by selecting the individual images and moving them around like that. And we've combined them all, and we've selected them all and put them into a folder where they're all contained together. Remember, we did that by selecting all of them all at once and going to the layers menu up here on the top of the layers menu. There's a little drop-down menu, and we grouped them. We created a new group from layers. We did that in the last exercise. So the next thing we're going to do is select all of those layers in the group. What we want to do is have a colorize a whole bunch of layers together, but we don't want it to affect the colorization of the blue color of the two hands below. So we're going to select all of these layers together, and we're going to merge them together, but we're going to do it in such a way that we still preserve the individual layers. To do this, select all the layers in your folder called Corpse. Hold down on the Option key. You can see my Option key is held down because I have this little symbol that shows up when I go near the lines between the layers. And then go back to the Layers property menu and select Merge Layers. Only do this with the Option key held down, and watch what happens. Now we have not what I wanted to have happen. Should happen. You hold the Option key down. That's what should happen. Is we have one merged layer all together, and then we have the individual layers all inside that folder. Next thing to do is to take the top layer. You see it'll be called Head Merged. You can rename that and call that Corpse Merged. Pull that out on top of the folder. So that it's, there we go. Now we have Corpse Merged on top, the Corpse folder, and deselecting those, and at the bottom the hands. Now we can treat these with some kind of colorization, just as we did before. Go to the bottom of the Layers menu and select the little black and white cookie icon. You can do it there, create a new fill or adjustment. You might not be able to see that. Or you can go to the Adjustment menu here, and you can select the same little icon from a little visual menu called Adjustments, Hue, Saturation, and the same little dialog box comes up as you had before. And now we can play around with how do we want to colorize that top layer, that top merged layer. And so you see all of the images get affected similarly. I'm playing with lightness, mostly hue. I'm going to make some kind of a contrast to the layer below. So about that layer below, maybe we don't want to have it be affected. This hue saturation layer will actually affect everything below it. But we can also break that off so that it only touches the one layer just below it. And to do that, hold down on the Option key and select the line just between where the hue saturation additive color layer is and the layer that it's modifying. And when I select on that, there's a little arrow that will point down to the layer below it that will indicate that it's only going to affect the layer just immediately below it. And now I could make the hue of the top layer be quite red, for example. Don't forget to select the Colorize button. That's what I didn't do. I can make the hue quite red there on the top layer. And I can still see below. If I turn that off, I turned off the whole layer. my hands will still have quite a blue color shift to them. So the last thing we'll do is actually play around with some kinds of blends. Here I used multiply. You could try to fool around with these different blends and see what is interesting as an overlay. And that's up to you. Take it back to normal. And that's the end of this exercise. You can save your document and put it up on your website, please, on your blog. Exquisite Corpse, your name, and save it as a JPEG. This means that you're saving a compressed version, you're exporting a compressed version, but you're also still saving and preserving the original big document that has all the layers contained in it. And that's the end of this tutorial.